If you have English, it's like intermediate or even better, maybe advanced, then you don't want to study English. You want to go straight to the college. And then we have academic pathways, which lead you eventually to a public institution. And students usually want to go there because of opportunities for immigration in any province in Canada.
This is Study and Work in Canada, Tamwood's podcast on all things international students want to know about co-op education programs in Canada. I'm Tamsin Plaxton, Tamwood's founder and president, and an avid member of the Canadian private education sector. Welcome back to Study and Work in Canada. I'm really excited to be joined today on this episode by Veronika Shaytarova. Welcome, Veronica.
Well, hello. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks. So today's episode is all about pathways and academic and language pathways and what that means for internationals coming to Canada to study and work. And, you know, Veronica is a perfect person to have on this show because of her background. She's currently employed with Tamwood as the pathway manager. But Veronica, you've had a long history in our industry. How many years have you been?
It's about 11 years already.
11 years, yeah. And prior to coming to Tamwood, what were you doing?
I used to be agent work in Russia. So I sent students to Canada for different programs. And then I moved to Canada by myself because I saw a lot of opportunities here. And then I become a pathway professional. So I literally do the same job, just on the school sides.
Right. Yeah. And you've helped a lot of students, both at your previous employers and now here at Tamwood, to develop their kind of pathway to their goals. And usually that's immigration. But, you know, we know that some students come and do study and work to better their skills and to get international experience to then go home and, you know, have a better career opportunities. But we're seeing, and this is why, you know, you're with Tamwood, is that we're seeing so many students now are interested in immigration to Canada. And we know education is part of a pathway to immigration. And you know, I think that word pathway is a great visual. You know, when I hear the word pathway, first I think of like a pathway in the woods, you know, like walking along a path. And that's really what this is. This is a journey that students take. It's not like you just sort of arrive in Canada and become a Canadian. There's a path you follow. And some people take different paths to get to the same goal. And we see some people, you know, obviously are taking a pathway that involves education, and others come in through sponsored employment. But mostly it's, you know, we're seeing more and more, it's a combination of work experience and education is part of that path. So Veronica, so what is, in your mind, what does pathway mean in the sort of context of Canadian international education?
So pathway, yeah, it's a popular word here in Canada. And it means like your way or journey to academic institution and eventually to immigration. So that's why it's super popular in Canada specifically. And there are two popular pathways you may hear about. So one, it's English pathway, and other one will be academic pathway. So two things are different, but they for different people. If your English is not strong enough, you want to start from English preparation first, because Canada is an English-speaking country, then you process to your academic program. If you have English, it's like intermediate or even better, maybe advanced, then you don't want to study English. You want to go straight to the college. And then we have academic pathways, which lead you eventually to a public institution. And students usually want to go there because of opportunities for immigration in any province in Canada.
Right. So I guess that when you say that leads to opportunities for immigration, you're talking about the Canadian Experience Class Program of Immigration, where students need to work to qualify for immigration, and to work, they need a work permit. So public institutions, by studying and graduating from a public institution, students qualify for what we know as a postgraduate work permit. And that's what most students are seeking, right? They seek a postgraduate work permit so that they can get the work experience that will qualify them for immigration.
Yeah, and it's great that Canada has this opportunity for the students. So you literally can pick any public institution in entire Canada, and then after you gain your knowledge in the university or college, you have opportunity to find a job, try to work in the industry, and then if you want to, you're welcome to stay here in this country.
Right, right. So, I think what's interesting for students to understand is that most people would think, okay, to get a postgrad work permit, I need to go to a public institution. That's clear.
Mhm.
Why would they want to start at a private institution first? Because you described an academic pathway as a transfer of, from a private institution to a public institution. That's a pathway between two institutions, and that means students start in one institution, graduate, transfer those credits, which then allows them to go into the next institution with advanced standing. They don't have to start from the very beginning. They've already had credit given to them for the courses they took at the previous institution, so they start with some of the coursework already done. Right? Why would you want to do that? Why would we counsel international students to start at a private institution, then transfer to a public, or why is that necessary for some?
Yeah, the main reason, the first one would be saving costs. So not everyone can afford to pay like about $20,000 a year right away. People are from different countries with different income. So when you go to private school first, you pay lower fees. And by this way, you can save money when you come to Canada, but also you come here, you have opportunity to work while you study. All our programs, they include work component where you can work full time, so you earn local salary. Compared to country you are from, it's like much more money sometimes. When you earn more money, you can afford to go to public school, right? So students usually use this opportunity to come to Canada early and pay less money. Another huge benefit that in between two programs in Canada, students eligible to work full time. So it's extra time for you to work more, to save more money, to pay for your future tuition. So what happens? Students graduate from Tamwood. They don't need to leave Canada. They have this up to 5 months when they can work full time before they start their academic program in public institution. Another huge benefit will be entry requirements. So let's say you are intermediate, in your English is not like advanced, you're not fluent, but you want to come to Canada now. So you can do that through the private school. You come earlier, you start study, but you don't study only English. You study some courses in business, hospitality, or web development. You improve in your English by doing that. When you work, you improve your English even more. And then at the time when your academic program starts in a public institution, you're already ready to start the main program, and you're well prepared to study in a public institution. Another thing is that we have flexible intakes. Not everyone know, but public schools, they usually have main start date in September, sometimes January, sometimes May. With private school, with Tamwood, we have start every month. So again, students usually want to come to Canada as early as possible to start manage their things here. And it's a great opportunity for you to come literally as soon as you get your visa, you just fly here and you don't need to wait till your next start date. We do have
Right.
small classes as well. So again, it's less stress for you when you're new in the country, you need to integrate here. Tamwood has great people who work here. We will help you with everything. And then by studying in small classes, you improve better and faster than if you go to university.
Right. Yeah, it's a big shock, isn't it, coming to Canada? I mean, you did it. You moved
Yeah.
from Russia to Canada. It's a big shock. It's a culture shock. You miss your family. It's adjusting to sort of operating in a new language, even if you know English or French, if you're moving to Quebec,
Mhm.
because Canada has both official languages, French and English. Even if you move in even if you've studied those languages at home, you're now studying in a foreign language. You're in a foreign culture. If you have to jump into an academic program at a university or a public college where classes are really big, the campuses are very large, the student populations in the campuses are quite immense, you could feel a little lost, right?
Mm.
So starting small, where at a private institution, they're typically smaller. The institution administration will know you, your teacher knows you. You're going to get that support that that allow you to keep up as you're adjusting to life in Canada.
Mhm.
And I think statistically, students have a higher success rate at private institutions than they do in public, as we see I think statistically, about 30% of international students who go straight to a public institution don't make it into their second year. They either drop out or fail.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's a big loss if you've invested that much money. If it's $20,000 a year for public institutions and you don't make it to your second year, you don't get a diploma, you don't get a certificate, you have nothing to show for your year in Canada.
Plus,
But if you go to
you've gone.
private institution, that first year is a lot easier to adjust to because of the supports and the small classes. And, when you finish that year, you actually get a diploma,
Mhm.
right? If it's a 1 year program at the private college, which most are, our programs are all pretty much 1 year. So then when you transfer into a public institution, you have the chance to actually earn a second credential. So that's another advantage, isn't it? That students who do a pathway, an academic pathway, you going to two institutions instead of one, end up with two credentials, either a diploma and a degree or a diploma and another diploma. And that gives them extra points for immigration. Is that right?
Depends of the student profile, depends of the immigration profile.
Right.
Depends of the background. But usually, if you have work experience, if you have education from back home, yes, both credential will play important role in your
Yeah.
immigration profile.
And your immigration. Right. Right. So what kind of number of courses typically can students transfer? At least let's use Tamwood as an
Mhm.
example. Tamwood has quite a number of
Mhm.
agreements with public institutions and private universities that allow students who complete a diploma with us to then start at the public or private university with advanced standing, what they refer to as advanced standing, meaning they've already completed some of the coursework required.
Mhm.
What are universities or colleges typically allowing students to transfer over? How many credits are we looking at?
It also depends. We have many different agreements with 8 different schools. The most popular one would be almost 1 year of your tuition. In credits, it will be 24 credits or 30 credits. It's maybe a new word for the students, but it means you transfer literally almost 1 year of your tuition. And as I said before, average price it's about $20,000. So imagine that you save that much money uh,
Right.
transfer. You still will study 2 years minimum, but during every semester you will take less courses. You will have more time for your personal life, for your work. Depends, and
To
also,
study.
yeah, to study, sure,
Yeah.
because you have more time for your current courses. You have better grades. You have better success everywhere, and then uh, because you have more time, you can figure things out here with your immigration as well. Because when you go to public schools, you have like 6 or 8 courses every semester, and it's overwhelming for the locals. But when you foreigner, you need to think like you need to translate everything in your head. For you, it's harder to start in a public school compared to Canadians. So when you have less courses, it's make your life easier, believe me.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Having a full course load is difficult. Yeah. As you say, even for Canadians, it's a big shock, especially if you're coming straight from high school.
Mm,
It's always a big shock. And then to take a full course load. So that you're right, transferring the credits and then having a lighter course load per semester, each semester is going to make life a lot easier for the international students. What kind of programs I know, but can you share for the audience? What are the programs that students are taking at Tamwood that are transferring into other institutions?
the most popular one is hospitality. As you may know, Canada is popular for hospitality and tourism industry. Our school's located in Vancouver and Toronto, big cities. students love our programs, and we have many jobs in different places. It could be hotels, restaurants, travel companies. So we do have main transfer agreements for hospitality and tourism. We do have transfer for business. Again, big choice. If you're from high school, you can complete your bachelor degree later. If you already experience mature person with work background, we have postgraduate programs available. We do have transfer for web development or graphic design course. So if you're IT mind, your mind is in IT, you want to work with the marketing or with developing websites, we do have transfer for those programs as well. And I would say it's a key industries and booming industries now in Canada. So it shouldn't be.
You mean the IT? The IT is booming industry. Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
web development. Like I noticed with our students, even if you have zero English, but you want, even if you have zero skills in IT, but you want to step in, web development would be a great way to start, because programming is not that hard. There are many jobs for you to find the work and practice your skills, and then in a couple of years you can move on if you want to development or something else. Yeah, so great
Right.
way to start
Right.
for you also.
And we also offer UX and UI as well. And there's also credit transfer opportunities for students who study in all of those programs at Tamwood, right?
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
designer mind, it's booming as well. Like everyone try to sell their products, they want beautiful design, beautiful
Right.
logos, so you can take the
Yeah.
opportunity to get
Right.
here.
Right. So explain your role and how you help students in this process. So a student approaches Tamwood, wants to ultimately hopes to immigrate one day, wants to set themselves up for that. And what's your role in this process?
I'm a counselor, so I help you to get what you want. First, we will talk to you, try to understand what's the final plans are. Obviously, 99% of students, they want to immigrate, but then there are so many different ways to do that. So it depends on student profile. We make individual plan, what we need to do, what grades do you need to have. I help with the program choice because, as I said, we have many different partnerships. So it depends on student profile. We get like up to 3 programs student will think about later. Then I help with everything with application process. So you don't need to worry about how to apply, what documents to prepare. I will help you with everything. So I will tell you the list, what you need. I will submit your application. I will track it down. So you just focus on your studies and your work, and then just reply to my emails whenever you receive one. And before you start the program, I also help with course registration. And it's another confusing thing here in Canada. So your programs in public institution, most likely they are not fixed list of courses. You need to choose one, you need to register for once, and I help you with that as well. So literally from the beginning till you leave Tamwood and you start your new program, I will guide you through entire process. And even after, if you still have some questions, you can always come back to us and ask them. And if you need help, we will help you out.
Yeah, I'm proud of the service that you give. That's a fantastic service. And I love the fact that we can offer that to students at no cost to the students as well. It's something that Tamwood offers as part of its service to its students. So yeah, that's wonderful. Any advice to students who want to pursue a pathway, anything they should know in advance or anything they should come prepared for?
The big advice is just sit and think what you want to do here in Canada. You will immigrate eventually, I promise you, if you want to. But then I noticed that the most difficult part for the person to choose their career, because eventually you need to find a job. Ideally, you need to like this job, So when you come to Canada, you have opportunity to start your life from the scratch. If you want to change your career, perfect. Come to Canada and do that. If you want to get higher salary, better job title, you can do that as well. So think first about what kind of career you want, and then start from that. We can build the pathway for you from where you are now to reach your goal in the future. So this, yeah, I would say the most important part. The rest
Yeah.
is just the process. Yeah.
It's such an exciting time in people's lives, right? When they come to Canada, and you're playing such an important part,
Mhm.
such an important role in helping them, sort of guiding them and supporting them in this journey to achieve these goals, right? And
Mhm.
it must be really fulfilling for you.
Yeah, for sure. Really
Yeah.
yeah, I love my job because mainly I help people to change their lives. And it's nice to see when even now here, I can see that students are happy where they are, they like the programs, they find good jobs. With some of them, we even become friends, and you know that they eventually immigrate, they start families, buy houses here, but they couldn't even imagine to do that when they cross the border, right? Usually
Right.
broke,
Yeah.
try to find a job,
Yeah.
frustrated, but then at the end, everything is good.
And Canada is just so welcoming right now. I know Canada has a very aggressive immigration strategy, is trying to increase the number of immigrants coming to Canada. And there seems to be a big push to to recruit or to attract immigrants. I mean, through an education pathway. Isn't that seems to be the case, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
So
popular. Yeah, because my main idea is for immigration. We don't like Canada wants professionals to come here, so you can work, you can pay your taxes. When you study here, you integrate in local culture, so it's also easier for you to find a better job and pay higher taxes, right?
yeah,
So Canada welcomes
true.
you for sure.
Well, there are taxes in Canada, but there's also
Mhm.
great public services that come with that,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. The lifestyle
Yeah.
is great. Like you probably read many articles about how Canada, how Vancouver is the best place to live. So yeah,
Yeah, great. And you're also helping students going to, I know you're based in Vancouver, but you also work with our students across Canada. You're also in touch with students in Toronto. So students have access to your services and to the pathway department, regardless of which campus they're attending.
yeah. And thanks to technology, so we can have a call anytime. We don't need to meet in person. Yeah, it doesn't matter where you go. We can help you here for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Veronica, for sharing your knowledge about pathway programs and opportunities for students through our pathway program to achieve their goals. And it's been great having you on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was fun. Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
That's all for this week's episode of Work and Study in Canada, brought to you by Tamwood Careers. Tamwood is a private education company operating career colleges in Toronto, Vancouver, and Whistler, Canada. Tamwood offers popular work and study programs in fields like business, hospitality and tourism, digital marketing, web design, UX, UI, and entrepreneurship. International students who study with Tamwood gain valuable work experience in Canada and start on a pathway to a successful career and immigration in Canada. If you'd like more information about Tamwood and its programs, visit our website, www.tamwood.com. You can also check out our videos on YouTube and connect with us on social at Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.